Hi, hello, and welcome everybody to my April wrap-up. It's that time of month again. Actually, it's not that time of month because today is the 9th, and I'm just now doing my wrap-up because I've been on vacation for the past few days. Also, I'm still a little sick because air conditioning is killing me. We have a lot of books to talk about. We have 20 books to talk about because in April I read 20 books. Now, as always, I'm trying to do this with as little spoilers as possible. Obviously, you're gonna get like a little bit of the thing that's on the back of the book. I'm gonna tell you what the books are about. I'm gonna tell you if I think they're worth reading. And I think it's just time to jump straight into all of these books because there are a lot. As always, I'm gonna go in chronological order and just gonna start. We're not here to just watch me sit here with this pile of books. Maybe you are, which is fine, but I'm just not. So, without further ado, let's grab all these books and jump straight into the first ones. We're gonna start off this month with a few ebooks that I read. I read an entire series. I'm gonna put the covers here for you. I'm gonna talk about this series as a total. I am talking about first book, Her Soul to Take. Second book, Her Soul for Revenge. Third book, Soul of a Witch. These three books are demon witch romances. They are very spicy, and that is the point of the books, okay? These are smut, straight up. They're cute, they're fun, they're a good time. Essentially, each of these demons wants to make a deal with the witch, or like with the person, the human, whatever they are, to get their soul. Overall, they want the soul of the person, the demon is always the guy, by the way, in order to protect them from something, in order to help them with something. Overall, they're good. They're a fun time. Honestly, the last one with the witch, that one was my favorite. I really like that one. The other two were also good. You know, overall, I would rate this whole series like a 3 stars, which I think is pretty good for a series. So we're just moving on from that. Next up, I read Strung Along by Hannah Cohen, also on Kindle Unlimited. And I don't remember this book at all. So let me look it up. So Strung Along is a kind of small town romance. Not kind of, it's a small town romance. And we have our main character who just wants a simple life. She wants to calm down. She doesn't want the stress anymore. She's just like done with it. And then she meets this guy who's a rising country music star and they have to like deal with it. It was a fun book. Obviously it's a romance. Who am I trying to kid here? I only read romance. I don't read books without romance. I don't like those. Kind of celebrity romance and kind of being like datey-ish with like the celebrity stuff. I have my phone out because I have to look it up. Also, I got a new phone case because the old one broke. So now we're doing green. We're rocking the green. We have both parts of this is the small town romance, which is the cozy and cute part. And then we also have the celebrity romance, which is this part of can you deal with me being famous and also, like, can you deal with me going away potentially because I'm going on tour? That's all in this. This was a fun time. I rated this a 3 stars, which just means it was good. It also means I probably will forget the plot immediately after reading the book, and therefore I have to look it up. Okay, anyway, next I went down a rabbit hole. A Hannah Bonham Young rabbit hole. I have 2 of the books right here. Technically, the third one is supposed to get here soon as it comes out, actually, because they are being traditionally published after being self-published for a long time. So there was no way I could get the book before now, but I think it's fine. So the book I'm talking about, the book that I read first, is the most popular book by her, and that is Out on a Limb. It is a very fun book. It is about 2 people who have disabilities. So he is an amputee, he lost his leg, and she has a tiny hand, which is really cool because I know a person in real life who has a tiny hand. So we have these 2 people and they just hit it off. They have so much chemistry in this book. It is of course a romance and I had a good time reading this one, okay? I really enjoyed it very, very much. This book, 100% worth the hype. I'm not sure if it's that hype, by the way, but I did enjoy it and I did have a great time reading it. So this is a good book. And with that, we're leaving the world of Kindle Unlimited romances. We're now moving on to actual physical copies. Now, I did buy those books after I actually finished them. So I read the ebooks of these and then I bought the physical copies. But let's talk about them. First book is Next of Kin, again by Hannah Bonham Young. This was fun, this was good. What I love about her books is that there's always like a real life struggle. So in this case, you have 2 separate siblings, so you have two pairs of siblings. The book starts with Chloe, and Chloe's getting a call from the hospital, like, your mom's in the hospital, you're having a baby sister. Chloe was adopted as a kid, so she doesn't really know what's going on. She doesn't have a good relationship with her mom, so she's just like very distant from her, but she knows the second she turns up at that hospital, she needs to take custody of this baby because her mom is in no condition to take care of a child. But because she's still like just out of college and she doesn't know what she's doing, she needs help. So social services tells her that she needs another guardian in the house, and that just so happens to be Warren, who also needs to take care of his brother. His brother is deaf, and he is 14, 15 or something, and he cannot take care of him himself because he's out a lot, and so these two need to work together to take care of their siblings. And it's cute. It's kind of cute because we have a kind of forbidden romance. It's not really a forbidden romance, but they try to like suppress their feelings because they need to take care of their siblings, and their siblings are their first priority. It's just cute. It's just lovable. These characters are so nice, and there's just so much of a backstory in these books, and in this one specifically, that you just have a good time. And I had a great time, so I like this. I liked all of these books so much. This was fun, and I cannot stop hitting the book because this is the first physical book I'm holding today, and it just feels good. And the next one is also by Hannah Bonham Young. Who would have guessed? This is Next to You, which is also a romance. So our female main character, she's in a little bit of a midlife crisis. Not really, like more of a quarter life crisis. All her friends are in like relationships, and she's the only one left. She doesn't know what to do. So she does the only thing she can think of, which is buy a van, or was it a school bus? She buys a school bus. So she buys a school bus, and she wants to convert that school bus into like a tiny home, which is then gonna be like her new start, her project. But who better to help her than the only single friend left in the friend group? Turns out he's been like low-key obsessed with her since they met. Yeah, it's also a cute romance. So Matt, the male main character, he's kind of like a family guy, and he wants to settle down, find a wife, have the happy life. But she's a little non-committal, and she just wants a very open kind of relationship. So this is just them dealing with that, and it's just, I loved this. I had such a good time reading all of these books because they were so fun and so easy breezy to read, and I just had a blast. I don't know what else to tell you except that I had a blast. Next up, we're moving to my favorite book of the month. It's already that time. What is it, you asked? Elsie Silver. What else could it be? This is Wild Love. It's a new series by Elsie Silver, like the first book in a new series. It's a series specifically full of single dad romances. What more could you want than single dad romances? We have the single dad. He just found out that he has a kid. He's kind of famous. He's also like a billionaire, so there's that. And then the female main character moves back into town. She knows him, like they have a backstory. They knew each other. Like she's always had a tiny little crush on him, but he has always had a tiny little crush on her. But she is also his best friend's little sister. So she tries to help him because he's trying to get his like small town life going. He's done with the big city life. He's done with the career stuff. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna help you because I need a job. This is just his small town life, navigating this kid, navigating the family stuff, because obviously the kid still has a mom, but that mom is either sick or in rehab. I don't know. It's one of the two. I don't remember. That's not important. The important part is that this is a very cute romance that I loved, that has a lot of depth in it, and that is kind of the perfect wavelength between fast-paced romance and slow burn romance. So I had a good time. Alright, for the next few books, I'm gonna keep it very short because I talked about these books in that video. I'm obviously talking about Magnolia Parks. I read the first 3 Magnolia Parks books this month. I'm not the biggest fan of these. These are alright. I can understand why people like them so much. Overall, Magnolia Parks itself is such a toxic relationship. Like, it is toxic. The characters know it's toxic, and that's the only reason why it's acceptable. Overall, just toxic relationship meets Gossip Girl. Gossip Girl is also a toxic relationship. But we have like a high society stuff. We have Magnolia and BJ who have been on and off again since the day they were born, essentially, and they're just meant to be, but they also intentionally hurt each other all the time. So that's their romance. And the second book is Daisy Hates. Daisy Hates was fun. I liked this a little more than I liked the first Magnolia Parks. It's just that I liked this more because it kind of gave me more of a mafia romance feeling, which is weird, but essentially Daisy Hates, very similar plotline. Very similar. And then the third book in that series is Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home. I enjoyed this. I was baffled by the plot twist at the end of this book. I was thinking of reading the others very fast, but then I didn't because I went on vacation and I could not be bothered. And then the next few books that I'm going to show you, I also talked about in the video. I'm also going to link that one for you. But that one was my 12-hour readathon in which I read 6 books. Well, I finished 6 books. These are all books I started ages ago, but I finally finished them. So, first up, Legendborn. Legendborn is kind of like a King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table retelling, but not really a retelling because the legend of King Arthur exists. But this is just like a secret society at a university nowadays in which the people like the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur are just like reborn, and it's really good. I loved Legendborn. It was such a great book, such a fun story. There was so much tension in there. I don't know why I put this down before, but I did, and I regret it because this book is so good. And I really, really am looking forward to reading the next book in that series. And overall, Legendborn is just a very, very good book, and I had a blast. After Legendborn, I read Immortal Longings. Now, you've seen me hold a different version of Immortal Longings because I have 2 editions, and I'm just holding this one because the other one was too high up for me to reach. Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong is kind of giving Hunger Games in a different sense, though. So, you have these tournaments that happen every single year. In order to win, you have to eliminate the others. Now, you can eliminate them by taking off their bracelet or by murdering them. Those are the 2 options that you have. Both options are acceptable, and they're equally acceptable. Obviously, it's a bloodbath. This is kind of an adult fantasy, but I would put this more into like a dystopian because we have this city, and they're actually called the Twin Cities. They used to have 2 kings, but one king was murdered by his daughter, and this is out of the perspective of the daughter. So cool. This is so cool. And I cannot wait to read the next book in that series. This book was great. After that, I finally finished reading Immortality. This has been such a burden for me because I've been meaning to read this. I read the first book and I enjoyed it. The first book is Anatomy, and personally, I liked Anatomy a lot more, but Immortality was fun as well. I will not be telling you what Immortality is about, but I will be telling you what Anatomy is about. We have this main character, I do not remember her name, Hazel. Hazel wants to become a doctor, and the only issue is that she's not allowed to become a doctor because she's a girl. And we're in like, I don't know, 1800 something. A few hundred years back when women were not allowed to go to school. So she pretends to be a man to be let into the academy to become a surgeon, which is what she wants to be. But in order to practice her surgery, she needs dead bodies. So she also pays a grave digger and a grave robber to bring her bodies. And that's kind of their romance. It's cute. It sounds weird, but it's cute. Again, I thought the first book was better. This one was a little slow. This is why I put it down for so long. But I finally finished it, and it was very good in the end. Next up, I read a book that I didn't like. I'm gonna just say this straight up for you. This is Mother Hens by Sophie McCartney. Yeah, this wasn't my book. I'm pretty sure that this is some people's book, but it's just not for me. So essentially we have a woman who is cheated on by her husband with her sister. So she obviously breaks up with him, and then she goes on a trip to Ibiza with her best girlfriends, and they accidentally hire a hitman. A lot goes on in this book. I kind of read this entire book in like an hour and a half because for some reason a lot happens, but also nothing happens at all on an emotional level. And this is just like revenge in Ibiza with a lot of wine. If that sounds like it's your kind of book, go for it. I'm pretty sure you're gonna enjoy it immensely. Just for me, there was no romance. Anyway, the next book I read was If I Have to Be Haunted by Miranda's Son. I really had a good time with this. It is about a girl who can see ghosts, but she's supposed to be on like a school project with her arch nemesis in school. Like, he doesn't turn up. She goes looking for him in the woods. He's dead. He's a ghost. Now the two of them, like the ghost and her, they go out on a quest to save his life. That's the book. That's the plot. I had a good time. I liked them together, and this is just a very cute standalone story that just, it worked. It worked, and I had a good time. This is kind of giving 2016 fantasy YA book, and I'm living for it. I'm here for it. I like this. This was fun. After that, I read another book in this 6-hour readathon. And again, I talked about all of these in a lot of detail, so I'm just gonna keep it short. This is Why We Play with Fire by Giselle Reason. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best here. I was sent this book as an ARC, just so you know, and I had an alright time with it. I feel so bad every time I say that I didn't particularly enjoy an ARC very much. But with this one, I did have a good time and I did enjoy a lot of things in this book. For my personal taste, there wasn't enough romance, and that's all I have to say about it. I'm just so big on reading romance in books. It just is all that I live for. And this book just didn't give me enough of that romance, so my throat's a little dry. My eyes are crying now. I'm not crying, just my eyes. It's not an emotional cry. It's an I just had to cough cry. So, this book was fun. It was a good one. It was entertaining, but at the same time, it didn't give me enough romance, and I live for the romance. It did, however, give me like a lot of friendships and a lot of other good relationships, so there was that. Let's move on to the last book I read, which was a romance again. This was Never Ever Getting Back Together. I was originally planning on reading this in May, and this was on my May TBR, but I kind of read it in April because it was on my Kindle while I was on vacation. I was like, this sounds so good, so I read it. And it was so good. Well, what is this about, and what does this have to do with Taylor Swift? It has absolutely nothing to do with Taylor Swift, except that the title is a Taylor Swift lyric, but that's what made me buy the book, so good job on that part. Anyway, this is about two girls who both have the same ex. So this guy, the ex, he's kind of famous because his sister is now married to a prince. And he's in a reality TV show where he's trying to date every single one of his exes to get back together with one. Now the issue is that our female main character, Maya, has been cheated on by him. And now he cheated on her with Sky. And Sky is also a contestant. Plot twist! Maya is planning her revenge. The only reason she is at this TV show is to get her revenge. However, another plot twist, because there are sparks flying. There are a lot of sparks flying between Maya and Sky. And that's just it. It's just such a good book. It is so great. I had the best time. It was so fun, so cool. It was the perfect thing. It was the thing I wanted, honestly, for like reading a book that is very queer. And it was just the perfect way to end the month. And it's also the perfect way to end the video because we're done. We talked about all the books that I read in April, and now I get to take off this cardigan because it's so warm, and even though it's kind of cold outside because I've been sitting here filming, it's kind of heated up the room. Anyway, I hope you had a wonderful time watching this video. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment your favorite book of the month for you, by the way, or if you've read any of these books, because I am, as always, very interested in what you read. If you like the kind of videos that I make, consider subscribing if you don't already, and I will see you for the next video very, very soon. Goodbye, everybody! Well, that was fun. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, bye!